Welcome to the IIBA Tampa Bay, Florida chapter. This is our Thursday night study group, February 22nd. This is our 108th class. Tonight we're going to interview Mishra. He is from Adaptive US. He's going to talk to us about preparing for the certification test regarding the BABOK, the application process, and the mechanics of the test. Our mission here is to bridge the gap between industry leaders and business analysts by building partnerships with professionals, educators, and employers so that we may empower, instruct, and engage our BA community. Our BA community, even though we are Tampa Bay, we actually have a worldwide community. We have folks from all over the world that watch these recordings and participate in our study groups, and we welcome you all. Our job here is to support you, raise you up, provide you information that you need. So feel free to reach out if you have any questions. We've given you a variety of ways to reach us. This again is our Thursday night study group from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern. We have got LinkedIn groups, Meetup, Zoom that you're focusing on right now if you're here. We have study group materials in Google, which has a variety of really good things, as well as our meeting recordings on YouTube. We have almost 100 there now. Our leadership is volunteers. Cliff is our president. Yulia is our vice president of finance. Vivian and Uche are our board members at large. Bob is our constant supporter who has been here since the beginning. My name is Thea Soren. I'm the vice president of career and professional development for our chapter. It is my job to assist you. Again, reach out to me through LinkedIn if you have any questions or if you need any assistance. If you're interested in being a part of our board, reach out to me or to Cliff on LinkedIn, and we will find something that either gives you a new skill that you're desiring or uses a skill that you currently have for the benefit of our whole organization. As you know, we don't charge for their study groups. We don't charge for anything that we do, unlike some chapters. So what we are here for is to benefit you, to raise up our entire community, to make everyone a little bit better. I told you that Bob has been our constant supporter. He is one of our CBAPs. Yulia and Uche are also CBAPs. Them attending this study group allows you to get an hour of credit. That credit can be used whenever you apply for your certification test. So we do thank them. We do like to celebrate the wins. These folks have reached out to us and said that the study group was an integral part of them being able to pass their certification tests. If we've been able to benefit you, let us know. It's what we run on. We are currently working through our professional series. Goodness gracious. Our professional series is not the test questions, but it is the people that you would want to know about. You're going to work with them in your workplace. You're going to maybe want to go into that career, just a tangent of business analysis. And so what we do is we do have test study questions, practice test study questions on these three different certifications that the IIBA offers. IIBA does offer 4 other certifications that are designed to be built upon the CBAP. So once you reach your CBAP, look into some of these others. They don't take a long time like the CBAP does to learn, but they will be beneficial for your career growth. The next interview, let's see, I think I've got this in the wrong order here. Let's see, we did Heather last week. Goodness gracious. I've jumped here, guys. I apologize. Here we go. Today we are going to have Ellen talk about the BABOK certifications. The next interview after that is going to be, sorry, I'm having technical difficulties. The next interview is going to be Paula Bell. She's going to talk to us about our business analyst career. She's transitioned to life coach, speaker, consultant, and she's going to come talk to us about what it's been for her career, and maybe it's something that you can utilize some of her techniques as well. After that, I think we're right down here. We're going to have Robert Snyder. Nope, I've lost my slides. I apologize. We're going to have a couple of other folks join us throughout the end of this month. Robert Snyder is a published author that's going to talk to us about some very interesting things. After Paula is going to be a lady that's going to talk to us about design thinking and how you can organize your sprint and get everybody on board with a single idea of the goal using design thinking. The last meeting of this month, I'm very excited about. What we're going to do is have people that are literally all over the world, business analysts from all over the world, come together to talk about what is business analysis in their country. Currently, we have England, Poland, Ireland. I'm working on somebody from Jamaica. And we've got a couple of other countries being represented that I'm still working on. Okay, let me mention rpchurchill.com. Bob has put together not only a fantastic website, but he has put together an index of all of our study groups so that you can literally look for the topic that you're interested in and click on it, and it will open up the YouTube page. We've gone through the BABOK twice. That means that you've got at least 4 different classes on the study test questions. You can see our conversation as far as why this answer is not correct and why this answer is a better answer. Those conversations are gold. But Bob has done an incredible amount of work cataloging all of our work here. And Bob, I'd like to turn it over to you.
I just wanted to briefly extend the introduction for tonight's speaker. I first met him about 7 years ago, maybe it was 6, I think. And he was I took his training course before I sat for my IIBA exam. Not only does the gentleman and his entire staff know their business inside and out, their customer service is second to none. So I hope you will give him full attention. This man knows as much about how to organize and study and sit for your exam as anybody you will find anywhere. So, Ellen, please take it away.
Thank you, Bob. Let me share my screen. And Thea, if you can stop sharing, then it will allow me to share my screen. There's a pop-up modal on your screen, Thea. It's not letting me share my screen right now, but let me check. I think now it should start. Okay, just give me a second. Share screen. I think it's just one person at a time, Bob.
You should be able to record. You should be able to present now. I've stopped presenting.
Sure, give me it still is giving me a problem. Or shall I send the presentation to you? Maybe you share and then I'll talk it through because it's still not letting me. Maybe if you click on my name and then allow me to share.
I tell you what, why don't you send it, Bob, can you send it to you instead? My computer is frozen.
Okay, let me do one thing. Let me send it to Thea
you're the
and Bob.
co-host now.
Oh, I became? Okay, then that should be helpful. Just give me a second. 1 second, share screen. This time. Oh, okay. Yeah, this time it allowed me. Very good. Thank you.
Very good.
Okay.
Bob is brilliant.
Yeah. So good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. It's my pleasure to be here today. It's indeed a great pleasure to meet Bob again. We interacted with each other maybe 6, 7 years back, as Bob said, and he kind of completed his CBAP with us. And he also helped us to write a lot of good questions, which I still cherish. And I tell them one of the best questions that were written by any of our faculty members would be Bob. So I am a practicing business analyst for close to 27 years now. Has been fairly long time. And there is a reason why we got so focused on IIBA certifications. So in our previous avatar, we had 3 business units. One of them was training, one was consulting, one we had a product which we were trying to sell it to customers. Unfortunately, the product became humongous. We could not maintain it. So we kind of stopped selling the product to other customers, although we use it internally even today. But we were focused on too many kinds of trainings. We were into project management, we were into agile, we were into business analysis, we were into ISO series of standards. So that made it quite hard for us to succeed in the global market. And around 2016, maybe towards end of 2016, we decided to streamline our focus, and we said the only set of trainings that we are going to conduct would be IIBA certification trainings. That's how we started our journey. And that required me to kind of complete all 7 certifications from IIBA. And at one point in time, maybe 3.5 years ago, I was possibly the only person in the world to complete all 7 IIBA certifications. Of course, now a couple of other people also have done it. But for a very long time, I was kind of holding that unique position where I was the only person to do all 7 certifications. For me, certifications have 2 value. One is, of course, get some swag. You always get a swag by saying that you are IIBA certified. But secondly, I leverage these certifications as a continuous learning opportunity, which means whenever IIBA comes with a new standard, I do study that standard reasonably well, and then I understand that topic a lot better. So before I did data analytics, but once I learned CBDA, I started focusing a lot more on the core aspects, different kinds of visualizations that you can create. Those were not known to me before I did my certification. So always treat your certification as part of your learning journey, and that will keep you quite motivated. Although I'm not saying that don't look for the certificate, it is valuable, but the learning that comes with the certification is far more valuable. So today I'm going to speak about how we have helped thousands of students to get IIBA certified in their first attempt, and the method that we follow to help our students complete IIBA certification. So please remember, I'm glad you guys are here. And I hear from Thea that your chapter does almost every week, barring a couple of weeks in the year end and sometimes in the July. You have programs happening through the chapter, which is a great contribution that the chapter is doing. And I believe we do have a lot of resources which we can give it out to the chapter. And I will reach out to Bob separately to put the content that we have developed, and it is at no cost to you. And you can put those content on your website as well. So obviously, a couple of quick notes. Why should you get certified and how to get certified? I'm going to limit our contribution to your story. That's something you can read it up on our website, and I will be happy to take any question that you have in your mind. So here is a tiny 20-second quiz for you. I trust all of you can read this page. So there is, you are in the shopping complex and you're trying to buy a smartphone for yourself. And you have 2 choices in front of you. You have a branded phone at $100 $1,200, and you have an unbranded phone at $800 or less known branded phone at $800. What would you go ahead and purchase?
If you don't want to answer out loud, you can put it in the chat.
Yeah. So let me see what kind of answers we are getting. One, we got branded. One is branded, I trust. Yeah. Yeah, option one, or you can just say option one. Yeah, option one.
We're at 100% branded right now.
Yeah, looks like it's true. I think that's the human behavior. Okay. I would too. Yeah, one of you said option two, but 90% of people would actually go ahead and buy a little bit more expensive phone, even if the phone may perform equally well. And that's the power of branding. Okay. Consumers trust brands. It's nothing unusual because the brand brings in some amount of quality perception, support perception, which the unbranded one does not get. So think you yourself as a product. Okay, we are all products. I am a product. Thea is a product. Bob is a product. We are in the marketplace to find good opportunities for ourselves, good clients for ourselves. No, that's nothing unusual. Okay, so if we are unbranded, the amount of money that we can charge a customer is going to be much less compared to if we get branded. And one of the easiest way to get yourself branded is to get certified. It's that simple. So learning is of course there, but the branding also plays an important role. And I have seen numerous cases when our students, after they complete the certification, they actually go and get salary hikes up to 80, 85, 90, sometimes even 100%. Which is an amazing story. And I'm not talking to you just like that. There is a page which I have put up, and these are real people. You can find them on LinkedIn and you can connect to them and figure out how things changed for themselves. So this is, I always say, it's always that a branded product does command a premium because it provides a better guarantee, maybe post-sale support, a lot more assurance to the buyer. Same way, when you are getting certified, the company that is hiring you or engaging you gets the assurance that you understand the subject, you have been tested independently. So there is a great value that comes to you because of that independent validation. So now that we have looked at it, this is something I keep telling, the four key factors that is going to help us to perform as a better business analyst. One is, of course, BA knowledge and skills, which is why IIBA exists, which is why BABOK was written. And this is where we find a good amount of knowledge come to you. Of course, sometimes BABOK can be daunting, given the fact that it's a large book. So we try to simplify the book as much as possible for our students. Then I talked about personal branding. It's also important for us to keep tab on different BA techniques, tools, and templates. This is something that we provide as well. And then finally, if you can get hold of a good mentor, that mentor can help you to go ahead in your career quite well. And fortunately for your chapter, you have Thea and Bob, who are amazing mentors who can support you in your professional journey. Okay. So again, the market is always crowded. There are people vying for the same job. It's not that there is one job and only one person is applying to that job. There are bound to be many people applying to a particular job opening. And if you are a trained and certified BA, the possibility that you will get picked up in the first place, even for the interview itself, changes. And I know a particular student who was in Australia, and he had applied to 500 companies. It's very unusual to find somebody who has applied to so many companies for a job and not being considered for that particular role. Then he came, he did ECBA, and in about 2 months' time, he found a job. And today, he has become an associate vice president in just about 7 years' time. So sometimes the first break itself could be because of the fact that you are a certified BA against an uncertified BA. So don't hear things like some people will say certifications have no value, they're just a piece of paper. This could be true for very few people, but for majority of people, majority of students that I have come across, certifications have brought in significant benefit in their professional work. So now let me go, and this I think is a repetition. I don't want to kind of repeat it through. IIBA studies have shown that people get at least about 20% more getting certified. They do fast, get very promoted very quickly. And the third point, which I really like, is you are much more confident at work because you know the subject. At this time, you have studied BABOK or you have studied some other guides from IIBA, and that makes you confident at work that I understand this subject, and that shows up at work as well. And obviously, in a sense, it also leads to greater job satisfaction as a professional business analyst. So this is something we did a study with our students, and we found 49% reporting a better role, like they were playing something else. Maybe they were a credit analyst or operational analyst. From there, they moved to business analyst role. 58% reported higher salary and 91% reported higher confidence. And I'm actually worried about the 9% which did not feel so. And obviously, we might have gone somewhat wrong somewhere for few students, which is why they still don't feel confident at work. So this has been something that maybe the chapter can take up as well, which is to focus a bit more on behavioral skills because the certification does not put a lot of emphasis on behavioral skills, whereas people do need support on behavioral skills as well, other than the process skills and tool skills and technique skills. But we being more aligned to IIBA certifications, the focus on behavioral skills has not been really that great as a profit-oriented company. But I think we are working on a book on behavioral skills. Hopefully by this year end, we will publish it and we will start delivering programs based on that book. Again, as I just say, people get 50% hike, people get new jobs, all kinds of things happen for people who complete the certification. Okay. Again, one of our students was laid off due to COVID, and again, she found a new job because of her certification. And these stories are from around the world, starting from US, Canada, Europe, Australia, India. It's not limited to one particular geography. Okay, so now let's get into the process that we would like to follow to get ourselves certified. And as you can see here, the first point has very little to do with the preparation process, you may think, okay? Making up your mind. And this is what I was actually talking to Thea as well and Bob as well. We have lots of students who simply don't make up their mind to get certified. They do take the training, but they don't prepare themselves to take the certification. Somewhere there's a fear factor that has come in. Certifications are very difficult, they're very complex, which is what we have to dispel. And in fact, we at Adaptive have something called success guarantee, which means if one of our student does not do well in the examination, we pay for the retake fees. So the student is protected from that. And that, of course, has helped us to prod many more students to go for certification, but it is still lower than what we would expect. We would expect out of 100, 80 should go for certification. Right now, it's only 40 who go for certification, 60 who still don't go for certification. And of course, depending on your career objectives, the experience level that you have, you should choose the right certification. Sometimes I find a lot of students hankering after CBAP, saying that I want to be CBAP certified, whereas they practically have very little experience in business analysis. And that's going to frustrate you. Okay, because you are not trained or you are not experienced enough to take the examination, especially CBAP. And I trust Bob has taken the test. I have taken the test. It's not an easy test. Whereas if you start with ECBA, it's a fairly easier test to complete. And then you also get familiarized with the IIBA exam system that always helps you to take on the next level examination much more confidently. So that's why I always say, don't over jump the ladder just because CBAP is more well known compared to other certifications. Third, I always say getting trained always helps because you can try to do it yourself. It's not that you can't do it, but it's going to be a lot harder and can take much longer without an expert support. The fourth point I always say is a lot of us do not understand the requirements of the certification very well. So we tend to study things which are probably not required from the examination point of view. I'll talk about few points when I go ahead. The entire BABOK is not tested during the examination. Okay, BABOK, only a part of BABOK is used during the examination. So obviously, it makes sense for us to focus on the part which comes in the examination rather than trying to read the entire BABOK. And trust me, BABOK is a difficult document. Even today, when I read BABOK, sometimes I get doubts in my own mind. Why is it written so? There must be some reason behind it. And if a person who has spent so much time in teaching BABOK, in performing the role of a BA, find it hard, others are bound to be finding it hard. I have no doubt in my mind that I'm a reasonably good student. Then, of course, we need to apply for the exam. There was a lot of misconception about the IIBA certification exams, which is really getting cleaned up over a period of time. Those of us who took the exam in V2 scheme, the previous scheme of BABOK, the application was a dreaded task. I remember so many students coming and asking me, Ellen, can you please review my application? I used to tell them, I am not going to review your application. I would rather want you to create a new application as per my guidance. Because in those days, if I remember very well, we had 82 tasks mentioned per project. And if a person has worked on 10 projects, it's 820 line items that you have to tell whether it's a BA work, not a BA work. It's such a difficult thing to say. And even I had this difficulty in my mind. Do business analysts form testing as an activity? And in those days, if you said, I did testing in a project, they will reject you as a business analyst, which is very surprising. No? I think in my experience, most BAs do perform some amount of testing because we wrote the requirements. It's important that we test the solution as well. But that was one tricky catch which IIBA had put up, and people used to get rejected because of few minor issues. Now the application process is far, far smooth compared to the previous generation. Then a lot of us also plan to take the test from home. Especially, it became very popular during the COVID time. And sometimes it may be a fact that some tests you can't take it from a test center. Like if you are planning to take ECBA or CBDA or CCA, these are tests which you can take only from home. You can't go to the test center. And that requires you to set up your infra properly so that you don't run into trouble during the test. And of course, finally, there has to be some tips to take the test, which I will share with you. I will send across this presentation to Thea and she can give it back to you. No harm. There's nothing very confidential about what I am talking about. So first step, please make up your mind, set a target date. And usually 3 to 4 months is good enough time for anyone to go for the test. Don't plan a test in 15 days. It's too less. And don't plan a test after 2 years. That's too long. Okay, so put a time frame around 3 to 4 months. Within 3 to 4 months, you can complete any IIBA certification. Of course, some people may say, no, I need a little bit more time, but that's at max 6 months. Don't go beyond 6 months because people who set targets beyond 6 months usually don't take the test. And also remember, I have been telling, without certification, you are losing a lot of salary. Okay, and these are real mails that we get from our students who come back and say, I did not get selected for this opportunity because I wasn't certified. It's plain and simple. It's almost like a tick mark. In many job roles, they'll say, are you CBAP certified? Yes, no. And if you say no, they have candidates who are CBAP certified. So obviously, they are going to get a preference over you. And secondly, not getting certified can make you vulnerable from two reasons. One, it kind of indicates to the employer that you are not learning. Okay. If I find a professional with 10 plus years of experience without even a single certification, I would say this person probably isn't very keen on the work that he or she is doing. And hence, he or she has not taken time to do something beyond work on a self motivated manner. These are mostly self motivated. Nobody has asked me to become a CBAP or ECBA or CCBA. These are things that I did myself because I believed it's going to help me as a trainer, as a consultant, as a business analyst. That is why I did all these certifications.
Ellen, we
Again,
have a question. We have a question. Are you saying that most people can't pass the ECBA just by studying the BABOK?
You can. I'm not saying that you can't. But the problem is with BABOK. I'll tell you the reason. It's so complex, especially for new business analysts. It's not going to be an easy read. And reading BABOK is one aspect, practicing test is another thing. So it's always good that you take help of some question set, which I believe your chapter already provides. So do some practice tests as well. And as I said before, if you are not smart enough, you are studying the entire BABOK, which is not required for the test. So I'll tell you about it. Just give me 2 minutes. I'll tell you what portion of BABOK is actually not required, especially for ECBA certification. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
So again, as I said, look at your work experience and your focus area. So in case you are working a lot in agile projects, maybe AAC is a good certification to look at because it's not as complex as CBAP. It's much easier. So from a complexity point of view, I would rate ECBA at level 1, AACs at level 1, CPOA at level 1, CBDA, CCBA at level 2. So that means they are doubly complex, and CBAP as level 4. So that means it's probably 4 times more complex compared to ECBA. That's why I'm always a little bit skeptical to recommend someone with very little experience to go for CBAP, although that's a constant request that we keep getting. We get students who have heard of CBAP and say, I want to do CBAP because I heard, or one of my friends said that there is a great demand for CBAPs in Canada. Okay, I understand, but it's not the right certification for you. So please focus your time and energy on the certification that you can complete quickly without much difficulty, and make it as a plan. Don't stop at ECBA. I'm not saying um, you remain ECBA forever, but use it as a stepping stone to look at CCBA and CBAP later. Okay, so this is a table that I have put up for all of you. So here it's almost kind of obvious from the name of the certification itself about what it is trying to focus on. And mostly the core three standards that we talk of, which is ECBA, CCBA, CBAP, are primarily focused on business requirements analysis. So we're trying to understand business requirements, delve into software solution requirements. That's what it deals with. Agile analysis is again software requirements, but in an agile based project, CBDA is more on data analytics. Cybersecurity is, of course, focused on cybersecurity aspects. And the product ownership is again something that is becoming very popular as we speak, because organizations worldwide are trying to merge two roles. So they're trying to merge the project management and business analysis into one role, which is what they are calling it as product owner. So if you are a practicing business analyst, you are already half product owner. As long as you pick up a little bit on project management side, you will become 100% product owner. Yes, one of you have said that, Maria has said that she's already doing some question bank with BABOK. That's good enough, I would suggest. Don't worry. It should take you through ECBA. Okay. Then coming down, I always say it's good to get trained. Remember, um, from IIBA point of view, other than CBAP and CCBA, the other certifications do not require you to get formally trained. But obviously, a good training can help you quite a lot, because most good institutes do provide study aids. They provide you with a study guide. They may provide you with question set, the learning videos, all that. So that kind of makes it easier on your part to get yourself certified. So find out a good training partner which has been doing this work for a while, and you can leverage the training partner to get yourself certified quickly. Although CBAP is something that I would not recommend self-study. That's as I said before, it's 4 times more complex. So obviously, it's going to be hard on you if you just try to prepare by yourself. But ECBA is definitely possible. Okay, this is a slide which I talk about our training, and I believe you will know about us and you can study about us a little bit. I will just skip this slide. Okay, so then this is the point that I want to spend a little bit more time, how to prepare smartly for your certification. And trust me, sometimes I hear people who have been studying BABOK quite diligently without realizing the fact that not the entire BABOK will come in the examination, especially for ECBA. So I'll show you. Usually, this is what I find. Some students are not clear about what is in scope for the examination, what kind of questions you will get, because sometimes I find certain training providers are stuck at V2, like the older version of the system, and they're still recommending very simple questions for CBAP, which is not the case in the new setup. Then you don't get enough practice questions. And again, let me highlight the fact that questions can be tricky. They're not going to be straight questions, especially for CCBA and CBAP, which you can read BABOK and get it right. It's unlikely. Okay, so this is where I wanted to show you this important slide. Please read this. There is a chapter called Perspectives in BABOK, which is 80 pages. It's not a small chapter. And that chapter is not there in any of the IIBA examination, not in ECBA, not in CCBA, not in CBAP. So you got it removed, and that will relieve a lot of pressure on you, because out of 450, 80 pages are gone in that particular chapter. Does it have value? Of course, it has value from a reading perspective, but from a certification perspective, it does not have much value. Similarly, for ECBA, two chapters are excluded. Strategy analysis, 33 pages. Solution evaluation, 22 pages. So all put together for ECBA, 135 pages of content is not needed. That's 30% less. Okay, so please remember that. Similarly, for CCBA and CBAP, the chapter underlying competencies is not covered, but it's not a huge chapter. But even then, if you look at perspectives plus underlying competencies added, it's 110 pages of content, which is not required in the test if you're going for CCBA and CBAP. Okay. Anybody asking me a question at this time? I hear someone speaking.
I think people are cheering mentally that they don't have to learn some of these things for the test that they want. Thank you so much for bringing this.
True. Okay. Then comes to succeed in ECBA, CCBA, CBAP. There are 30 tasks that you need to understand very well. And these tasks are grouped into 6 knowledge areas. I think many of you might have seen BABOK. So I and one of my colleague, Peter Johnson, we worked on this mind map. I am hearing back some kind of a voice. One second. Thea, can you please mute if somebody isn't speaking? Because I hear back a voice. Now it's okay. So this mind map is something that you can use to understand BABOK at a very broad perspective. Okay. So which tasks follow which tasks? What are the key deliverables that BABOK recommends? So this has been an amazing creation from Peter and myself. It might look so simple to you at this time. We spent almost 40 hours trying to decide on this map. How the map should look like, what should go into the map, what should not be there in the map. Is the map perfect? No. Is the map complete? No. Okay. But is it useful? Of course, it's very useful. Okay. So I always rely on mind maps, and this is one of the mind maps that I created. I'm very glad that we two put in so much effort in getting this done. Then this is again the simple mind map with all the 30 tasks mentioned for you. This is not very difficult to make, but it's just a visual representation of the other map that I showed you. And when you look at a task, please understand what the task is trying to achieve. Because this is usually tested in the examination, especially if you're looking at ECBA. It would like to understand what do we do as part of analyzing current state, what is defining future state. There's one more slide that I would like to add here, especially that will be quite helpful for you guys. I think I forgot to mention that. Just give me a second. I should be able to find it from one of my recent training sessions. And in that, one second, just give me a second. Cohorts, what are these cohorts? I do a lot of cohorts. That's where you will find these cohorts. And I actually modify the knowledge areas a little bit. I'll show you that particular slide. Yes, this is what I was looking for. And maybe what I will do, I will take this slide and put it into our today's presentation so that I can share it with you. So maybe more than this, I would rather put this one, maybe prior to this. Okay. And as you see this particular slide, you will find that I have written the knowledge areas names slightly differently. Okay, so I have added the words which are in red color. And I believe when you read the knowledge area names with this full naming scheme, it will make it a lot easier for you to understand. Like, say, for example, a lot of people confuse in strategy analysis thinking it is enterprise strategy analysis. It is not. It is about how do you plan to implement the requirements that you have got through elicitation and collaboration. So sometimes even solution evaluation, I will read it as solution performance evaluation and improvement, requirements planning and monitoring, although we call it as business analysis. Our focus is a lot more on requirements analysis. Ideally, we should have called it as a business requirements analysis guidebook. Okay, because business analysis can mean so many things to so many people, which is where a whole lot of confusion arises in a student's mind. So please keep this slide in mind. And anyway, I will send it across to you folks. So this is again the same slide. I have just put it in a slightly larger format. You can print it actually. You can keep it in color. It will be helpful. The next one is on the techniques. And one of the reasons why we created the techniques mind map is to give you an idea that techniques contribute to specific knowledge areas a lot more. So there are certain techniques which are much more prevalent in requirement analysis. There are certain techniques which are much more prevalent in strategy analysis. That's what we have tried to do. Secondly, we also tried to find commonalities among the techniques, which is important to understand because in BABOK, usually each technique is considered as independent. It's not related to other technique, which is not true. So the techniques do support each other. They share a lot of similar attributes. So this is what we also talk in our study guide. Hence, the study guide becomes a lot more compact, because you are not repeating the same information over multiple techniques. Then those of you who are planning to do CBAP, it is expected that your mastery on the techniques is a lot more. Okay, so that means you understand intricate details of sequence diagram, state diagram, activity diagram, financial analysis. These are things that is expected of a CBAP student. And we also created another interesting document based on a request from a client where we reverse mapped situations. So in that document, we talk about 60 situations. And in those situations, which technique would work best? Again, a little bit broader view or a larger view of our techniques mind map. Okay. And again, I keep highlighting the fact that you need to practice good number of questions, especially for CCBA and CBAP, because in those question sets, you get something called distractor, which means the question setter is trying to distract you from the correct answer. Okay, so if you are not careful, you will get distracted to the wrong option and obviously end up not doing well. So the distractions can be similar sounding words, similar looking words, parent versus child. There are so many distractions that is created for you. And that kind of proves the fact that you have read BABOK very thoroughly, you understand it, and you understand the distractions as well. And it's also important that you take multiple simulations, which means these are full tests similar to what you get with IIBA. And we at Adaptive actually created a similar system. And I would trust this is one of the very unique ones, which is exactly aligned to IIBA way of testing. Then comes applying for the exam. As I said before, the application process was far more complicated in the past, which is why we got a bad name in the market, saying CBAP is very difficult to apply. It is no longer. There is a good template that we designed, or you can also create your own template for most certifications, including ECBA, CBDA, CPOA. IIBA does not expect you to do any application except paying the fees. But for CCBA and CBAP, you need to submit an application, but we do guide our students when they want to go for these certifications. This is again something important for all of us because we are trying to take the test from home, many of us. But if you have an opportunity to take this test in the test center, please go ahead and do it now because COVID is kind of waning and taking the test in the test center is far more controlled environment. So you don't get up into an infra issue, just that you have to go to the test center. But as I said, for certain exams, you can't anyway take the test center. So you have to go and take it from either your home or your office. But there are few recommendations from our side. One, keep 2 computers, one as a backup. Keep 2 internet connections, one as a backup. Have a external camera because sometimes your laptop camera may not be good enough for the proctor to observe you very well. So keeping an external camera always helps. Should have power backup, okay? And you do need a clean desk and noise-free room. In fact, recently I got a video from PSI, which is a very interesting video, and I will share a link with you, which tells you how to get ready for the PSI test at home. And this is again something that we insist because IIBA exam system will install a tiny software into your computer. So if you don't have admin access, you will run into trouble. So that's why we generally recommend not to use the office computer because you may not have admin access on the office computer. So please use your personal computer. Then coming to the very last point, some tips on the examination. And as you know, all international certifications, including IIBA certifications, are based on their published guide. So stay true to the guide. This is an advice, especially to people who have lots of experience. Sometimes you tend to question the guide. And is it possible that the guide is wrong and you are correct? Of course, it's possible. There are many errors in BABOK which needs to be corrected. And I have written a lot of them to BABOK authoring team. But somehow BABOK isn't getting updated, although there is an errata document, but the errata is largely focusing on grammatical spelling mistakes, those kind of things rather than focusing on the core concepts. But for the examination, please make sure that you stick to the guidebook and not deviate from what the guidebook is saying. Then with many students, we have heard that initial questions are typically much harder. So it might make sense for you to start at question number 30, then go forward and come back. Okay. Jillian, you can take the test anytime. There isn't a frequency at which IIBA conducts this test. You just have to find a proctor or a test center for your examination. That's it. So, and usually it's very flexible. It's not that it's very hard to get a time from IIBA because a large number of tests are being done virtually, which means their capacity is far, far more available compared to the initial days when we had only test center based question sitting. Then some people have a tendency to getting stuck at a question. Please don't do that. You have limited time to write the test. So if you don't get an answer, flag it as B and go ahead. And you can always come back and review the question later. Look at the diagrams in BABOK thoroughly, especially for CCBA and CBAP. And please keep in mind that some CBAP questions can be terribly long, maybe 1.5 pages. So please mentally be prepared that you are going to get a lot of tough questions in CBAP. Then another option also we need to remember in the test, because you put option B as the correct option, it does not mean that A, C, and D are technically incorrect. There's somewhere I'm getting an echo. Can you all please be on mute? Because otherwise I kind of get an echo, or maybe put a headset, that'll help. Then again, as I said, your organizational practices can be different from BABOK, which is perfectly acceptable, but follow BABOK, not your organizational practice. Then there are few options which could contain words like always, only, never. These are tricky words. And usually when these words appear in the option, they are likely to be wrong. Then you also have a technique called elimination technique, which is a very useful technique in which typically you can eliminate a couple of choices. Okay. And then focus on the remaining two choices and kind of narrow down and say between these two choices, what seems to be more appropriate. Good. Then a couple of slides on what we do as an organization. We are fully focused on IIBA certification training. That's all we do. And as I said, we give triple guarantee on our programs. Our facilitators are really hand-picked ones. We have very few facilitators on board, but they are truly top-notch. We take a lot of pride in our course content, course material, and you can actually try some sample ones on the website as well. So again, as I said, we have success guarantee. Our sessions are guaranteed to run, and there's also money back guarantee. And that's what has made us one of the very large producers of IIBA certifications over the last 4 years. Last year, we did about 280 certifications, and we reached 1,700 mark. This year, I'm quite sure we will cross the 2,000 mark.
Thank you, Ellen. Ellen, I don't want to put you on the spot here, but how much does it cost to access your test bank?
That's something we generally don't sell individuals, but we do sell it to trainers and chapters. So that means we expect somebody to support the students beyond just the question bank.
Right.
So I'll write a note to you. So your students can definitely get it at a very special price. But in general, we don't sell it on our website because just the pure test bank may not enable a student to pass the test, which is why we discourage that practice. But if you already have a trainer or mentor, you're free to use a question bank.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, good. So I think you can read a little bit about our trainers. They're all pretty well known in the market. Laura has been one of the co-authors. In fact, she's the chairperson for 2 standards, BABOK and PMI-PBA. Victoria Cupid is a director on the board of IIBA today as I speak. Laura happens to be one of the former regional directors. I have been part of the test taking team. I also have been part of the new standard that IIBA published recently. So that's actually a good book. I really love it. And I wish someday we improve that book a little bit and make it for ECBA. Because I believe we still overload ECBA folks by asking them to read BABOK.
Yes.
BABOK is good for CCBA and CBAP. Okay. Lots of reviews on our website. I just don't want to take time here. And this is one interesting book that I would strongly recommend all of you to download. It's free, and we try to accumulate all the experiences of our students from so many test taking sessions. So this goes as like this, adaptiveus.com/free-resources. /free-100-IIBA-tips. So I'm going to copy this into the chat window as well. And you can download this. This is an amazing book because it kind of gives you a lot more tips than what I gave you in the session. And it's difficult for me to cover 100 tips during a particular training, but you will find them here. That's about it. This is what I wanted to cover today. So I'm open to take any of your questions. Oh, wow. Okay, Bob has one interesting observation. Yes, sometimes people have lots of apprehensions, and those apprehensions stop them from taking the test. Jim, we provide complete resources, starting from study guide, question bank, flashcards, simulations, and not to boast of, but I don't think there is anybody else who has this rich set of resources. And the reason is very simple. We are focused on IIBA certifications. Others are doing 100 things. And that's probably why they can't focus on a particular product. No, they have so many products to cater to. And that's the reason why we decided to stay very focused. We are only a 15-member team. We are not a large company. But because of our focus, it has been possible for us to do quite well in these scheme of things.
Very nice.
Yes. Any other question? I think maybe I will have Bob's photo here. Let me see.
You should have Bob's photo there.
Yeah, true. I think
Well,
maybe we
Ellen,
had another set of photos here. Yeah.
Ellen, thank you so much.
Kate.
The information that you brought, some of it we've heard before, but some of it is brand new to us. So we really appreciate you enlightening us. Folks, Adaptive US is the company that Bob has been telling us about for years. So, Bob is the one who started this study group originally. You know that he has credibility, and it flows over into Adaptive. Okay, next week we will have Jennifer Betan. She's going to be talking design sprints for analysts. The design sprint concept is created by Jake Knapp, applied to the business analyst role. At the end of the month, we're going to have 6 international business analysts join us from Canada, the Philippines, England, Poland, Ireland, and New Zealand. Our own Andrea, who's online with us right now, is joining us from New Zealand. The one from Canada is Renew, who was a member of our study group for almost a year. And then on April 4th, Leanne is going to come back and talk about her recent experience. She passed the CBAP, guys. And so she's going to talk about her hands-on experience of what she experienced, things that she wished she knew before, so that you will know. So join us next week. We'll continue our professional series. Thank you so much, Ellen. You have made us better. That's what we wanted. And
Thank you, Bob.
Ellen, you're going to send the slides to Bob, correct?
I will send it to you. I think I would have Bob's email ID even in my system, but I haven't interacted with him for some time.
It's okay.
Send so Bob, if you ping me, otherwise I'll find you out on my old email list and I'll send it to you. We
can put it on the Google Drive as well, so that we have access for everyone. Okay, folks, if you have any questions, reach out to me on LinkedIn. We will work together to make it better. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.